Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome into GarageBand Weekly, your weekly dose of, well, I say GarageBand, but there hasn't been much GarageBand news of late. I realised I've got myself on loop. There hasn't been a whole lot of GarageBanding going on. So today we're talking about some tech-related stuff. We got some news and notes for you, and then we are going to dive in to talking about AI. Because we haven't talked about AI in music enough. No, it's kind of reached a point where I don't know what side of the fence I fall on anymore, and I want your help to work it all out, to navigate it, because I'll talk about it later. But let's just say I have mixed views and feelings about it, and I need to make sense of all of my different thoughts. So yes. Stick around and you can help me do all of that. I hope you are doing well. If you do have questions, I will try to answer those. That is the goal around here. And the good news is that we have some fine folks here watching live as well. If you want to, you can jump over to our GarageBand FAQ. Yay! That is at studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand. And for whatever reason, the only time that link doesn't come up for me immediately is when I type it in and hit the button and try to show you now. But go over there now anyway, and you will find all of the GarageBand details that you need to find. There it is. Thomas Christ has thrown it in the chat there. studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand. G'day to the folks who are here live. We've got Miss Stephanie, the Mix Club. Hello to Mark Bro, Jade Star, and Thomas Christ. And I think I saw an Al Davis music there as well. G'day to you. And there's me getting ready and started for the show. Should we talk about what news we do have? Yeah. Well, it's kind of that quiet period at the moment, isn't it? We normally have big iPad and Mac related stuff in sort of March into April, and then we have WWDC in June, and then we have all the iPhone announcement stuff in September. But yeah, we don't have a heap in the way of Apple news. One thing that I did get this week is my Logic Pro yearly subscription update invitation. Well, not invitation as much as saying it's happening. So interestingly, yeah, we did get an update to Logic Pro last year, just before the yearly updates happened. I don't know. I don't know this year what's going on. So, and that's an honest thing, even though if I did know, I couldn't tell you. So, is that really honest? We don't know anything at this point in time. For one, I know this is GarageBand Weekly, but I've been using Logic Pro pretty heavily over the last 2 years. It is, in my opinion, now, without any hyperbole or without any Apple fan personisms, the best, most consistent, and most stable DAW on iOS. Now, is that a high bar to clear when you're competing against the likes of Audio Pro, GarageBand, Nano Studio, and Cubasis? Not necessarily, but in terms of having everything you need, having all the tools and all the features that you need at the top end, but still having enough simplicity and familiarity, such as what GarageBand has, I think that Logic Pro is still my go-to. So no surprises here that Johns is renewing, re-upping for another year. Hello, Jamie Lynn. Hello to you. G'day to Jerry Gomes. I hope you are doing well. Interview and live music from Counting Crows on the Howard Stern show today. There you go. Is Howard Stern okay now? I don't know. He used to be like the shock jock guy that I don't know. I've only remember him from like the 90s. I always remember him being really cringy, and he was the guy that, had the strippers come in the studio and used to do. I think he's become more like a serious journalist interviewer these days. Tell me he's not like Joe Rogan, and maybe I'll go watch. There you go. Counting Crows just dropped their full album. Awesome stuff. Yeah, so 18.5, that's a good point, Mark Bro. 18.5, bug fixes and security updates. In fact, should we update? Should we update live on the show here? Let's go to my phone, and I'll just check if I've got the update here, and we'll update, and then I'll be able to let you know if it's safe to do so. So I'll jump into the software update. You can't see because of the green screen and the bright screen. So yeah, it's a 1.58 gigabyte, at least on the iPhone, because remember, iOS and iPadOS are slightly different. I'm going to update now. I'm going to put in my code. Don't look. Don't look. All right. So it does introduce a new Pride Harmony wallpaper for the lock screen, which is interesting in in a world where some companies are moving away from anything that in any way celebrates diversity. That's actually a good thing that Apple are continuing to do their thing. So yeah, let's hope that that's a continuation of things. Yeah, it's weird world at the moment. Like in hockey, the sport that I love, they used to do a hockey pride event. And a couple of years ago, some of the players on some of the teams didn't want to participate. So instead of fixing the problem, which is the players who don't accept diversity, they fix the problem by removing the diversity games. Yeah, well done, NHL. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah. Not looking. It is hard to shock people anymore these days. It still does good interviews sometimes. Yeah. And look, people tell me they're like, "Oh, I know you diss Joe." Joe Gilder? No, what's his name? I see. I've forgotten his name now. Who's the bad? I see. I was about to say who's the bad guy. Um, yeah, Joe Rogan. But so people are like, oh, but if you listen to him right, he's actually quite fair. He'll say something stupid and outrageous, and then he'll like ask the question. I'm like, no. So you're confusing dumb with smart. Smart people don't say people are saying this thing and then put it out there. That's what dumb people who want to create drama do. That's the thing. You don't say, "Oh, yeah, the people have been saying, oh, the vaccinations are not right." Oh, but of course you should get vaccinated. Yeah, of course. Like, no, just don't say the quiet part out loud. Just say nothing. Just say nothing. That's my personalities, talking heads out there. Just say nothing. Absolutely. Alrighty. Yeah, and look, is it disappointing that all of these companies? I know it's not just the NHL, it's not just Apple, it's not just Google, it's not just Meta and Facebook. It's all companies, but they're between a rock and a hard place. And in fact, if you want to hear me rant about this in more detail, join me and Jade on her show, which will be Friday morning Australian time, Thursday afternoon, evening, US, Canada, UK, Europe, because we're talking we're talking all about it. We're going to rip the band-aid off and talk about all the tariffs, all the politics of it, yeah, all the stuff that I really don't like and don't want to talk about, but we're going to just to share the information because some of it's absolutely heinous and terrible. Some of it is absolute bluster and will blow over. Trying to navigate and work out the difference between the two is why there is so much volatility right now because people don't know. When you've got someone just pushing out so much incorrect information all the time, it's like a clock. It's right twice a day. You don't want to make a call thinking that something is BS and it's not going to happen, and then it's the one thing that actually happens. Yeah. All right. Well, it's going to be entertaining or it's going to be a train wreck. But either way, an entertaining train wreck is probably what we'll end up with. What else we got in the way of the news and notes I've got here? So Apple did something to Google this week. They said that people aren't searching as much anymore. And look, AI is our kind of basic theme topic for today. Oh, by the way, I got your questions there from Ed and from Joel. So I've tagged those. We'll come back to those when we do some Q&A in just a moment. So Apple came out and said there's not much search happening anymore. And Google stocks immediately went straight down. Because in case you didn't know, Apple pay Google, no, other way around, Google pay Google are the default search engine for Apple. So if you go to your phone, you go to Safari and you type a search, guess what? It goes through Google. And what Apple said is, hey, funnily enough, with all this AI going on at the moment, less people are actually searching using the regular Google, which is interesting, isn't it? So there's an article here on Digwatch, I don't know. So yeah, it's about the fact that Apple are like looking at this stuff now going, do we really need Google as our number one? Do we need to be paying Google to be our default search and to use their search when maybe we could use our own AI search? And if their search is anything like Bugalugs that we use for our voice assistant, may God have mercy on us all. So it's just an interesting thing at the moment. And this came up to me yesterday because I was searching some stuff. Georgie and I were searching for something. I can't even remember what it was now. and we were using the AI results. It was something to do with which actor was in which thing. And we were using the Google Gemini AI results that came up right at the top, as opposed to actually looking at a source, which is dangerous and also not great for, the sites that are actually putting information out there generating web traffic, because that's how they get paid. So, for instance, if I, instead of you reading this article here on DigWatch and being served up ads like they have on here, uh, yeah, what would be happening if I was just using Gemini? I would not get those ads. So, interesting time for search. And look, it's kind of like Google's been pretty bad for a while and it's gotten worse. So I get it. I know why people are using AI and ChatGPT and Gemini and all the other searches to actually search things as opposed to actually using a search engine like Google, because if you can't actually get to the results with Google lately, they put so much at the top. Yeah, Larry Page and Sergey Brin basically said at the start of Google, as soon as you inject advertising or any sort of monetary gain into an algorithm for search, it is broken. And then what did they do? They broke their own search algorithm by inserting advertising into it. So, yeah, slippery slope. But the thing is, the AI, at the moment, there's either free AI that has no ad. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that when you're using the AI ones, there's no ads? Yeah, that can't be forever. Those things cost a fortune. The amount of energy that the servers that generate and produce those results are using is big. So can they be free forever? No. So you can bet your bottom dollar that as soon as everyone's using, it's a bit like Google. Everyone was using Google. It was the default search engine for everyone, and then they plastered it with ads. As soon as AI is the default search location for everyone, you'll say, "Hey, Buggerlugs, who won the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical in 1994?" And it will be like, I have that answer for you here. But first, let's talk about Milky Way. Smooth, creamy, rich chocolate with a very marshmallowy center. Oh, you really want to go on Milky Way, don't you? The Tony Award was won by. It's going to be there, isn't it? They're going to have to get AI ads going in there. Yeah, remember how there were a few ads and sponsored results? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. They're coming. Exactly. They're coming. And exactly, do no evil was their motto before. Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, it is coming, and yeah, if you recall, Google originally was just hyperlinks straight down the page, ranked in order of most relevant to least relevant, and then the little blue hyperlinks little popped up over on the right hand side. It was usually 3 ads, and it very clearly said "ad" next to it. And now, if you Google something, so let's Google that exactly what I just asked for there. Let's Google my 1994 Tony Award winner, Best Actor, just because I have no idea what the answer is to this. In the 1994 Tony Awards, there were 2 Best Actor winners: Steven Spinella for Best Actor in a Play in Angels in America, and Perestroika and Boyd Gaines won for Best Actor in a Musical. There you go. And then TonyAwards.com is down here. So this one's not actually too bad because there's not a heap in the way of advertising. But there's this stuff over here now. There's the Show More button, which has these things here. Like, nothing's clean and clear. I am impressed by how few ads there are in this particular search. So obviously, whoever owns the search terms for Tony Awards, they've realised that that is not a no one that goes to musical has enough money left to buy anything. So because they've spent all their money buying tickets to musicals. But if we searched stock price certain company, yeah, you're gonna find the ads for sure. Yep. And I do need to watch this. I've heard about this as well, that there's one of the new Black Mirrors. If you don't know about Black Mirror, it's a kind of dystopian future, but not really that far in the future kind of show about what could happen. There was one where these people were like in prison, but they were riding bikes that powered the generator and it was using human slavery to power things. I'm like, we're not far away from that one either, are we? But yeah, it'd be interesting if you had sort of the Elon implant that he wants to put in your brain. Yeah, given your history and relationship with with advertisers, Imagine that if it's being run by advertiser funding, and then Elon in Elon style goes, advertisers go F themselves. We're turning off your brain. Johnson and Johnson pulled the plug. They won't advertise their cotton swabs anymore. So brain go off now. Yeah. Yeah, we are living in a dystopian future, people. No, and you know what? I talked about it yesterday, but I think you've got to be positive and you've got to have hope, don't you? And my hope is that there's enough good people out there doing good things. Like there's still plenty of good news in the world. And no, don't bury your head in the sand and ignore it, but also don't accept it. So you as a person don't have to accept it. I mean, sure, it does get to that point where maybe we're seeing that in the US now, where actual media outlets and YouTube content creators are starting to get targeted, and they're trying to find out ways that they can make them stop talking. But we can't. We can't stop talking because then, if you remove all of the truth, then it's only the BS. And then, yeah, imagine AI once there's no humans putting content in the world. If you want to feel good about something, let's feel good about this: the fact that the FTX people. Remember the Larry David ad? Remember Tom Brady and Giselle Gisendling? I don't know her name. I'm sorry. She's a model. No disrespect to her, but she married Tom Brady. So, yeah, there's that. So all of the celebrities and some YouTubers as well. So this is where it sort of crosses over into our world. Accepted advertising from a company called FTX, and they got sued. Yes, they got sued by people saying, duh, I thought if Tom Brady said it was a good thing to buy, I should spend my life savings on it. Sorry, that's my stupid football fan crypto bro voice. Duh. No, that's probably not appropriate either. How would they actually talk? They'd be like, "Yo, bro, no cap, but I went all in. I went all in. I'm a degenerate. I'm a DJ. I spend all my time on 4chan, and I do whatever celebrities tell me to do when it comes to crypto, bro, because I'm just on the edge." Anyway, they did all this, and they got off. So it kind of makes me sad. But you know what? The funniest thing, you know what actually makes me laugh? All of those people that did the ads for FTX, do you know how they got paid? FTX stock. Suckers! Guess how much their FTX stock is worth now? Schadenfreude. Yes. It is nice. It is nice when bad things happen to bad people. So no, look. Is it part of our capitalist society that people accept? We had the thing with honey. Turns out that everyone was sponsoring and shirking for honey, and they turned out to be an evil company. We had the thing with the Scottish. Be a Scottish priest. No, what was it? You could be a lord. You could own a piece of Scotland, and they'll plant trees for you. Yeah, it turned out to be a giant sham as well. So yeah, big surprise that people on YouTube and big celebrities get these contracts and endorsements. And you got Matt Damon saying, "Courage. It takes courage to put your money into something that's not linked to anything, that has absolutely zero value, and is only being pumped up as a meme stock." What? Pump and dump? I don't understand those words. So yes, get the evil laugh. I do have an evil side. No, I love comeuppance. I'm a big karma guy, Jerry. So it's not about being evil. Because guess what? If these people just did good things in the first place, then they'd be fine. I On a much smaller scale, bringing it back to this channel and music and creation, I work with a few companies, right? So I work with Apple. You can say what you will about Apple, but Apple are, in my opinion, one of the more trusted brands going around. And I work with them because they will give me their stuff to try out. And then I can be the guinea pig and I can say to you, $900 headphones, no. iPad Pro with M4, yes. So I don't say everything's good, but if they want to give it to me and I can check it out, and again, this is a company that doesn't tell me what can say and can't say, how I say and can't say it. They never vet anything that I do on this channel, so I work with them. DistroKid, I work with them because they're cool people. And I very carefully worked out that DistroKid was an almost direct match with my brand, but more importantly, with my values. So DistroKid are about helping you in an affordable way get your music out there to the world. I'm all about helping people create, record, and release their best music. So guess what? Yeah, works perfectly. I've worked with BandLab too. I think that they're wonderful people and a great platform. IK Multimedia, they make the best hardware if you want a simple way to connect a guitar or a microphone to your iPhone or iPad. It all makes sense. But I also have been approached by various different brands that make 0 sense. And again, this is a long way around to say that the reason that I have a little bit of Schadenfreude, and but by the way, Schadenfreude is a German word meaning to derive pleasure from the suffering of others. Very German. But the reason that I kind of have a little evil chuckle at this is comeuppance, man. You get what you deserve. If you go in completely blind, going, I got no idea what this is about, but I'm going to promote it and put my name against it anyway, and sign off on it saying yes, then hey, what? If it turns out to be a giant scam, you deserve to get a little bit of a ribbing out of that. Yeah, there you go. The carrot coin for a pump and dump. Absolutely. We'll get that going. I was singing Common People by Pulp the other day, and you know how carrot covers a word that I don't like using in a particular song. I was like, smoke some fags and play some pool. And I'm like, I don't think I can say smoke some carrots and play some pool. I don't think that's how it works. All right, should we talk about one more thing that's a little disappointing? And that is, oh, by the way, yeah, thanks for those folks who've already hit the thumbs up button. I see the little thumbs icons flowing through, tick, 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 ticking over. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already, if you want to. One more thing here, and this is a bit of a personal rant because I had a problem with this week, and I'm going to tell you about a company. I'm going to name and shame. And look, I've moved to another company that are going to do exactly the same to me as well. It's just how things work now. But there was a thing that the FTC were doing, and I agree with a lot that the FTC in America does, and that's the Federal Trade Commission, I believe that's what it is, that they do, and some of the stuff they do is no good. This was something I was really looking forward to, their click to cancel rule that they were going to put in place, and guess what? It's been delayed. Yes, the evil companies will continue to be able to make it really frightfully easy to sign up and really horribly complex to leave. So, my personal story with this week was with ExpressVPN. Hi, ExpressVPN. Or should I say, buy ExpressVPN, and I guess if I ever get a VPN sponsor, it's not going to be ExpressVPN. So I signed up to ExpressVPN 3 years ago? Yeah, 3 years ago now. And I signed up on a really good deal that it was like 2 years for this low price, 80% discount, blah, blah, blah. You know, the thing, I think it was Leo Laporte. It was some YouTuber that was hawking it at the time. And I'm like, great. And it got to the end of 2 years, and I suddenly noticed a charge from ExpressVPN for like a lot more. So the 2 years was about $130, and then I get a $180 charge for the year because, of course, auto renewal. That's right. There was no way to not set up auto renewal when I first set up. And look, was it my fault that I didn't set a reminder for 1 year and 360 days in the future and then cancel it and turn off the auto renewal? Yes, it was. So I did complain about it. I said, hey, this is shady business practice. They're like, what you going to do? We're shady. And sorry, this story is a personal opinion of Pete Johns and is not a representation. No, this is what happened to me. This is just the facts. So, okay, I suck it up and deal. But I do immediately go in. So they'd renew me for another year. I immediately went in and turned off auto notifications. Guess what happened when my year was about to come up? Email after email after email. So the tactic is specifically, clearly, and deliberately, if you have auto renewal on, send no notifications that you're about to renew. If you have auto renewal off, send all the notifications that you're going to renew. And you might say, hey, Pete, it's capitalism. That's how it works, buddy. Where you been? This is what companies are doing to us. They're bending us over and having their way. Yeah, I get it. But isn't that just inherently evil? So what they're saying is we would actually like you to be tricked into accepting another year, whether you want to or not. We do not want to give you the opportunity to cancel because then you might cancel. Why would we do that? That would be affecting our bottom line. And I would say, from a consumer point of view, that's just awful. That's a terrible way to run a business that is deliberately shafting me. Anyway, I I'm like, "Okay, you know what? I'll sign up for another year, but I'm not putting auto renewal on because I don't trust myself to go in and cancel it." I went in there. There is no way to just buy a year. All I could do was turn auto renewal back on. So what did I do? I didn't renew. And it elapsed, and I got another email with a very special offer. Guess what? 80% discount, 2 years, really cheap, right? Because of course I do, because I've left. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I can't be bothered setting up all my devices again. So I'm just going to go in and accept it. But no, because I couldn't just accept it and pay for the 2 years. What did I have to do? I had to set up auto renewal. So I said farewell to ExpressVPN, and now I'm a Nord dude. So NordVPN, welcome NordVPN. Feel free to reach out. If you, look, they're really good so far, but they have the same setup. So when I signed up, it went on by default, auto renewal. So I've got 2 years at a cheap price, and then it'll re-up me for another year at a more expensive price. Does this annoy anyone else as much as me? Anyway, so the idea of this whole click to cancel thing was it should be, you know how sometimes you try to cancel and then it goes, are you really sure? Are you really, really sure? There's a big button that's like, yes, continue using. Like, do you want to cancel? Yes, continue using. Or no, I'm a chicken shit. Please opt me out. And you have to go through that. And then sometimes you can't even do it automatically. It sends you to a retention team. And look, I worked in an industry where we had a retention team. I ran a retention team. I get it. I understand this sort of thing. Maybe it's my karma and my comeuppance for all the years that I hassled people and I tried to make people stay. But in my defense, whenever I was in a meeting about this stuff, I was like, hey, here's an idea, guys. Instead of getting people in any possible way and signing them up and then ignoring them, why don't you just keep giving them good service after they've already signed up, and then they won't leave or want to leave? Is that a crazy idea? And they're like, that's crazy. That'll never work. That's not as sexy as new sales, Johns. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so anyway, I say all that to say the FTC were going to put in this click to cancel law, and now they haven't, which is sad. Yes, there's a couple of tips. Ed's got a great one here, which is that many credit card companies allow you to create temporary virtual card numbers that can expire in days, weeks, or months. Yes, you can do that. You can also use PayPal, and then at the PayPal end, go in and actually remove authorization to that biller, meaning that if it reached a point where they tried to charge you again through your credit card via PayPal, it'll just error out. Sometimes when that happens, though, don't have a backup payment like I did, and then suddenly it pulls that money out of your saving account or your checking account instead of your credit card. Because, yeah, that happened. That was great. But that was a different thing. That was a bill setup. And again, a long bow to draw to lead us there. But Apple, this is why having your subscriptions through Apple is actually really good. Because how do you? So here's another story again. I know we're in story mode today, but my daughter was getting into the family history, so I'm like, oh, you know what? There's those genealogy apps and things. So it was like, I can't remember which one it was now. It doesn't matter. Ancestry.com. I think it was that one. So I'm like, oh, cool. Well, we can sign up to this and you can check it out. And we looked at the free version, and of course, the free version didn't have very much in there. So I saw that there was a 2 week free trial. And then, of course, you charged thousands of dollars or whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, 2 week free trial. So I said to Jazz, I'm like, all right, you can do the 2 week free trial. She's like, oh, but well, yeah, okay, but I don't want it to charge. Like, what if it charges automatically? I'm like, no problem. You're on Apple. You've got an iPhone. You did what Tim Cook told us to do and get all of our families in the Apple ecosystem. And for all of the challenges you have with Apple and for all the things that people say are bad, one of the great things is that with subscriptions, if you accept a free offer, a subscription, and anything, you can cancel at any time with one tap. One tap of a button, and you can cancel your subscriptions. In fact, I'll show you because I've got my iPad hooked up here, so I'll show you what I mean. Oh, it's not connected. There you go. It's not working. I hope I don't need to use my iPad for anything today because I didn't test it beforehand, and it's always the way that when I don't test it is the time that it won't work. These dodgy little HDMI to USB adapters, sometimes they work and sometimes they just don't. Let's see if it's going to come back. You going to come back to life, iPad? Nope. No good. So we'll try and fix that later if we need to use the iPad. But yeah, so you have a list of all your subscriptions, and you can go in there and you'll know exactly when they're renewing. And what is kind of not advertised but is really handy is that you get to at any time you can be able to what was I saying? You can cancel it and it won't cancel till the renewal date. Sorry, that was a bit of a mixed up way of saying that. But yeah, you can go ahead and cancel it and you'll still get the 2 weeks. So all we did with that one is we signed up, hit the cancel button immediately. It said you can keep using this for 2 weeks until the cancel. And then as soon as it hit the cancel day, it didn't renew. So I find that very handy. All right, we are going to run a quick ad now in the middle of the show. I stole this idea from Jade, so you may be getting an ad right now. Don't worry, we won't talk about the people that are getting an ad. We will just move on and we'll answer some questions, and then I'll go on a little rant about AI because it's a ranty kind of show. Yeah, it is. It is really good. Exactly. Rather than seeing a debit to Rando Corp. Exactly. So everything going through your Apple is good. The problem is, because it's not all roses, because the problem there is that you do pay more for some things. So always check the prices and are you willing to pay the bit extra? Because the problem is that because Apple charge these vendors 30%, they often add 30% to their prices if you pay through Apple. Sometimes it's worth it, and sometimes they just wear it and you still pay the same. In that case, always use Apple. If you end up paying more in the Apple and you want to run the risk of having to go through the website and the horrible dark patterns to try and cancel and unsubscribe, then go directly through Netflix or Spotify or Disney Plus or whatever you're using. All right, I am going to update my iPad. Since it's not working anyway, since it won't show me the iPad anyway, I'm going to update that as well and just do a quick check here. So this may be a very talk-heavy show because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to demo anything. I call it pre-cancel. I always do it immediately after signing up. Yeah, so do that. Always pre-cancel. Miss Stephanie says, when I've left something, I have even had money taken out from the different transactions, like I've been hacked and have to cancel my card. Yeah, and that happens. And a lot of us, I definitely do, a lot of people have a second credit card that only has a very small limit for that reason. And ironically, the second credit card that I use for basically only online stuff, I've never had to replace or have a problem with. The main credit card that I only use in bricks and mortar locations, I had to cancel that like 2, 3 times. So I don't think it's always an online thing. I think sometimes it's those, what are those Swiffers? What are they called? The things that they put on the outside of terminals. I'm sure I've been scammed by one of those before. And once was in the States when I was in the US. And in the US, they have this horrible habit of taking, here in Australia, and I think it's getting better. I think it's more like this now. But in Australia and throughout Europe, your card never departs from you. Like there's no, oh, give me your card, I'll take it away and scan it and then bring your bill back to sign. No, nothing is signature anymore. It's all tap or insert or Bing or Apple Pay. So yeah, there is no point where someone's alone with your credit card. And even over the phone now, you're not allowed to say the numbers of your credit card. We've got this thing called PCS, which I used to know the acronym for, position contacts, PCS anyway. And what that does is that even over the phone, if you're ordering something, you have to go to a separate service where the agent is not listening and enter your credit card number in. You then go back to the agent. That data is encrypted and sent through to their billing system. It's billed, and then so the agent has no visibility. Back in my day, when I first started working, credit cards was just sitting in plain text in people's accounts, or even worse, on forms. So people would send in direct debit forms, and I walk around where I was working, and there'd be like a pile of forms that were direct debit forms with people's names, date of births, credit card numbers, bank account numbers, identifying. It was just insane. So identity theft was much, much easier. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that whole give someone your credit card and then them take it away. So everywhere now, they just have the terminal. They give it to you and you bing it and you're on your way. So that works a lot better. Yeah, get Amex or Diners Club, discover, just get yourself a card that no one accepts, and then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it because you can't pay anything with it. All right, we did get a couple of questions in there, which I will now go back and have a look at. Is there any way to add a modulation wheel to GarageBand iOS Touch keyboard instead of using the facial recognition mouth movements? Uh, there is. Is there not a modulation wheel in GarageBand next to the keyboards? See, this is where it's going to get tricky to actually show things. Because, yeah, you can wow, wow, wow. You can use your mouth to modulate, but I thought, but could be wrong, that you can also use the keyboard. Just going to open up. So it's not, there's no wheels at all on. Yeah, so there is. So on a lot of your synths, so I'm looking at the Alchemy synth here. Is it the audio coming through? So yeah, so if you go to say Alchemy synth, and I think even the default one, like the Epic Cloud Formation, I can't find it because it's gone to something else. But yeah, over on the top left, you've got pitch, modulation, and velocity. So you can use that modulation wheel for that, and any instrument that has modulation support should also have the modulation wheel. Things like your pianos and stuff obviously won't, but I think every other, yeah, all the other keyboards that I'm going to here that are electronic type seem to have it. Oh, some of them don't. Some only have velocity. But yeah, the vast majority of the ones that are sort of synth style also have the modulation as well as the pitch bend wheel. And the ones that don't, you can't use your face for anyway. So yeah, apologies that I can't. I'm going to give it one more shot and see, because it's asking me now. It's not recognizing. It's not recognizing the USB camera. So I have to fix that, which I will do. I will do off camera later. I've got all sorts of problems with my computer at the moment. My OneNote document is not syncing across my different computers, which is fun. I've got this problem with my iPad now. So technology, hey, who would use it? They used to have that thing to make a carbon copy. I know, it seems safe. Remember that? The big machine. Was anyone old enough for that? Chunk, chunk. So they'd put your card, and because cards have the indents, all the indents would go onto a piece of carbon copy, and then they'd keep that, and you'd take your stuff. So yeah, there were bits of paperwork with people's credit cards everywhere. It was a worry. I used to work for a company that sold a bunch of useless crap, and so many people would send order forms via mail with cash. So yeah. I mean, there used to be, what were they called? Money orders? Before credit cards were common and popular, and you wanted to buy something, say from like the back of a comic book or something, you'd have to go to the post office and get like a money order for like $10, and then put the money order in, because you weren't allowed to send cash through the mail. And it's like, yeah, we do have better systems now. Yeah, sure, you can get hacked and you can have your identity stolen, but yeah, money orders were never great. I've never been to the USA, and last year I was getting all these transactions from stores in the USA. Luckily, I haven't had a problem since my new card. Yeah, and by the way, again, this isn't finance help with Johns, but do yourself a favour and go in and do a couple of things. If you do nothing else with your, especially with your credit cards, you can actually, with almost all banks and all credit cards, if you go into your internet banking or your online mobile banking, go into your card settings, because there'll usually be a couple of things there. One is an amount. So a daily limit, so you can actually set that daily limit. So if someone goes ahead and tries to put a big transaction through of like $1,000, it'll just error out. It won't work. And if you do want to personally do it, all you need to do is basically go in there, you flick it on, you pay, and then you flick it back off. It's one extra step, I know, but it's super secure. The other thing you can do is set whether your card can be used overseas. So if you're in Australia, you can actually say, never allow this card to pay anything in any foreign currency. And the other thing you can usually do is say, and if you're physically in another country, yeah, just turn it off completely. If anyone's physically trying to use this card or this card number in a country apart from Australia, then turn it off. The reason I know those exist is that when I went to the States, I forgot to turn mine back on. So we were there, we'd been traveling for about 24 hours, checking into the hotel in Anaheim. We're all really tired, and I've scanned my card to pay for the hotel, and it's like declines, and I'm like, oh, what? Oh, okay. But luckily the hotel had Wi-Fi. I jumped in, I'm like, there it is. I just had to go flick and say, allow transactions internationally, and suddenly it worked. So there's a tip for young players. If you've Never done that before? Go in and check it. They still do them in Canada. They're pretty safe. Well, I think, yeah, because they do have a bit of a paper trail, so they're kind of more auditable for cash. Yeah, do it. Just go in there. Like if you're using any of the big Australian banks, they'll have it. And if they don't have it, just call them and ask them because there'll be a thing in there that they can put a lock, and it'll basically lock it down so that anything over like $100 and anything outside of Australia will instantly get declined, and then you don't have to do the whole cancel and reissue your card stuff. See, who knows what advice you get here. Have a voice prompt for anything over $300. Yeah, that's it. Like there's heaps of good, sophisticated things. And my bank even when I did get something that was not me, it paid it, but then it immediately sent me a little fraud prevention thing and said, "Did you make this payment?" I said no. It said, "Okay, we'll leave it with us," and then it'll say, "We'll tell you what happens in 3 days." And 3 days later, I got an email saying, "Yep, we've reversed the transaction." And yeah, that was it. So that time I didn't actually have to do it. Uh, and I intentionally spoke in a strange voice for the recording. So when it calls and asks you for verification, you're just like, "Yes, I want to pay the money." And they're like, "Okay, this person's a bit strange." Where are we at? Question: do you think the Golden Knights can even the series tonight? I don't think so. I don't know. The Oilers are just playing so well. This is the ice hockey, by the way. So there's a game happening in 2 hours' time. So good timing for me for this show. So, and I'll be watching. It's kind of my Friday night, so it's perfect timing. So 11 a.m. on a Tuesday morning is kind of the equivalent of my Friday night because I don't do shows on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I'll be enjoying. I'm going to go to the sports bar. I'm probably going to have my first beer at around 11:30, and I'm going to watch the hockey, and hopefully the Golden Knights can get up and make a series of it. But I tell you what, they're looking good. The Edmonton Oilers are looking good. Toronto, not so much. I was thinking it for a while there it was going to be Edmonton, Toronto. I think Canada deserve to have a Stanley Cup winner. With all the Canada America stuff, I think Florida are like the empire. They're like the Darth Vader of teams because they're from Florida for starters. And yes, I'm sorry, Floridians, but yeah, you have a bit of a reputation. And then you got these Canadian teams that are like, "We will not be 51." and they're like, "No, of course you're not. Greenland are 51. You're 52. Get it right." Yeah. All right. Let's talk AI, shall we? I'm not going to go into detail on this because I ranted so much on that. But there's a couple of things that I've been thinking about when it comes to AI music, and I just thought it would be a good time to chat about some of them. So I'm just going to go back to my notes here because I've come completely out of the place that I need to be. You'd think I'd be doing this for a while. I'd be a little better at making sure that I didn't do things like this. Where are you? No, this is the problem. Normally it's in my OneNote, but my OneNote's not working. So let's just check my notes here. Yeah. So AI and music. So I'm grappling with whether I'm a giant hypocrite at the moment because I've been using AI to do some tasks. I used it to create the thumbnail for this video, which I just thought was weird, of like guitars growing out of my shoulders and stuff. So, yeah, I'm less okay with AI music than I am with AI everything else, and I'm wondering if I have a bias. I'm doing a bit of a bias check on myself because it must be the same. I've got a relative of mine who's an author. Her name's Trish, and she writes books. That's what authors usually do. And she's like pretty anti AI because it's literally scraping her books, and people can now ask it to write in the style of her sort of book. And that's a bit creepy. But again, because I'm not a writer, I'm not as attached to it. The same with movies. I get it, and I know that for people that are, Hollywood movie stars, you're like, well, yeah, let's cry into your wheat bix. You're not going to make $10 million for movies anymore, whatever. But no, we're talking about your working actors, the ones that are the extras, and they're the people that are at the most risk of being replaced. So I get it. I can have empathy. Is that the one where you can't? No, sympathy for them. But I think for music, because I create music, that's where I kind of draw the line. And I wonder if that is my just being biased towards music, or whether music is somehow worse than text, or worse than images, or worse than other art forms. And I think that I what is it that they say, that you accept everything right up to the point? So you're like, everything's okay up to the point of where I would do it, and that anything that's not what I would do is suddenly unacceptable. It's like people that, oh, it's okay if I speed, but I definitely wouldn't hit and run because that's terrible. But I'll break the law here. But if I break the law here, that's no good. And I think it's the same with AI. I think that because there's AI tools that we use for music creation. Sure, like everything, basically anything automated, you could call AI because it is using some sort of automation or some sort of, and I usually call it like human led automation, like fancy autocorrect or whatever you want to call it. But I think that using tools to help you create, and I watched a really fascinating video. I've linked it down in the description below, and I suggest you watch it. It's from a creator that I wasn't aware of, and I can't actually remember her name, but it was an interesting video. She talked to Grimes, who is an artist and has developed something called Grimes AI. And I kind of think that this is, I don't know whether I love this or I'm terrified by it, but she's created Grimes AI where you can sing and it will change your voice into hers. And then you can use AI Grimes and actually tag them as a featured artist in your song. And then what Grimes has said is any that are really good, the real Grimes, so it's basically like her studio singer, they'll audition it, and if you write a fire beat and a fly track, then the real Grimes will actually sing on it properly, and release it, and then cut you in. So I don't know. I don't know whether I find that terribly disturbing or super smart. Like it's getting ahead of the curve, isn't it? And one thing they said on that is that technology causes turning points. I think that's true. I think the technology does cause turning points. And I think for some people, as soon as they saw AI, the likes of Nick Cave, who came out and said, AI is terrible and everything AI is terrible and I hate AI, they did a U turn. Some people barred straight on through and just went, woo, embrace, fully embrace, let's go there. And other people kind of detoured off to the sides and said, let's use what we can. Let's know what's happening here, but let's be a bit smart about it. Let's use it in a unique and different way. So I guess I'm kind of answering my own question that if that is in a unique and different way, maybe that's kind of cool. I've jokingly said that a Pete Johns AI bot, if I could get something that could ingest every YouTube video I had ever done and then create a virtual Pete that could answer your GarageBand questions, I would be down with that. Would that be weird and creepy? Because I guess the only concern I would have is you'd have the ChatGPT problem of if it scraped information that was from, say, 2018, it might say things like, no, GarageBand does not support 24-bit audio. Or if you got something from 2022, just before Logic Pro for iPad was announced, I would say something like, oh, Logic Pro is never coming to iPad. We need to just stop thinking about it. So, yeah, it could be a little bit scary. But if it had the smarts, if it was intelligent enough to be able to know what was said at what time, then that would be better because it would be able to scan and go backwards from the most recent information. So I thought that was interesting. And the other thing that I thought was interesting that they talked about was shrinking the gap, that AI can shrink the gap. And someone was sending me music that was created in AI, and they said, I wrote all the lyrics, but I can't create. I have a disability where I can't actually do the music and I can't sing. So, but I wrote these lyrics and I wanted to create a song. And I was torn between, isn't it great that we have a piece of technology that can help someone that can't do something do it? And it sounds like you're a poet. It sounds like you're writing poems. And it would be like me saying, yeah, I can't really paint pictures, but I know what the picture wants to look like. So, do, 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 do. A crash in the middle of a live stream. You can hear the buzz and you can see the board. I need to unplug it and plug it back in. Oh, one moment. Oh, we're up on there. Okay, that's cool. You probably heard me there. I was just taking another video. I just needed one more example before I contact Rode, because I've been gathering some videos of the different weird and wacky things that my Rodecaster Pro does. So we'll get it back online, and I'll get myself off the webcam and back onto the road in a minute. There you go. That was AI. That was AI creating that. Let's see if we can bring me back. There we are. I'm back over here now. Yeah, that crash is still going. Actually, Jade, I wanted to ask your opinion because I know Rode are going to ask me if I've upgraded to the latest firmware. I haven't. Have you? Is it safe now to do so? And should I do that before? I might log the ticket and say I deliberately haven't updated because I've heard that it causes problems, which it did for you. So, but now again, I've got 3 videos now of it crashing during live streams. So hopefully that's going to be enough. All right, I'll upgrade. I'll do the upgrade first. Hey, it can't get much worse, can it? And now's the perfect time to do it because I got no shows for a couple of days. So I'll upgrade to the latest version, and then that may fix it. Who knows? Maybe it just needs an upgrade. Anyway, what were we talking about? We're talking about AI. So let's go back and talk to folks here. I still feel a little anti-AI for my art because I want to stay as authentic as possible, but I see how it's helpful for others. Yeah. I think AI will actually make artists more valuable as long as you stay true to your own values, make your music you believe in, and let go of any inhibitions and trust your instincts. So that's a good point, isn't it? Yeah, because and I talked about this on the happy hour on the weekend. It will make the uniquity of human art even more unique. It's kind of like if everything is cookie cutter. I could relate this to GarageBand because you know what? GarageBand is kind of been AI. You could call autoplay, which has been in GarageBand since like what 2008. You could call that AI. I mean, it's not really. It's just generated, but you can play the chords and it does all the stuff for you. And the same with like using Apple loops and things to create your music. You can say, well, that's like using loops is a form of artificial intelligence because the loops can be beat matched and they can be stretched and they fit and they change pitch and change tempo. Pretty amazing stuff. But when you hear a GarageBand song, sometimes for those of us that have been using GarageBand for a decade or more, you can hear the GarageBandiness of it, can't you? Why? Because you can hear the Blue Ridge drum kit. You can hear the jazz hustle flute that everyone puts in because it sounds rad. You can hear the sounds of GarageBand. You can hear what it sounds like. You can hear the autoplay sequences because you've heard the autoplay sequences. So even if you're using all the variations, you've heard them before. So I think you're right, Joel, in that if everyone's using and it's already there because when I prepare for my Your Music live show and I hear an AI song, all the vocals sound the same because they've got that highly compressed kind of artificial sound. They all have that kind of white noise, huskiness behind them. Nothing is clear and nothing is doing cool things. Like I gave a compliment to an artist on the weekend that was doing really cool movements between notes, like and vibratos and things. And what you're hearing in AI is the vocals are playing like they would be played on a keyboard. It's like I am at the starting line and I don't know where I'm going. So I think, yeah, maybe the more, and it's the same with AI art. I think AI art's cool, right? But how many like weird, trippy things? Like I was playing with it yesterday on Your Music Live as well. I was doing weird art with teddy bears and guitars and stuff, and I kind of like that because that's something that it kind of came from my mind, but I don't have the ability to do it. So I guess in that sense, I'm using it to help. But someone like 13 Scribbles, who's one of the artists that we play, and is also a great artist, the album artwork that they do, created by hand, is so far superior to anything that I could ask an AI to do. It just is because it's human made, and I don't know. Maybe I'm an old man. It's like she's exactly. It's like she's the head of the labels who are planning to drop the very same service. And again, but I guess this is what we've seen with Taylor Swift and now Pete Murray here in Australia is doing the same thing where they're doing their versions of it. Um, yeah. How would you feel about a feature in a door where you can type in what you want, like make a fake funky bass line and will maybe give you the MIDI notes as a starting point? See, I don't dislike that either. Like, I wonder, can Chat GPT, because MIDI is just data, right? Are there any AIs that can create a data file? Because they can. They can create code. So there'd be nothing to stop them creating MIDI data code. Um, I wonder. Let's ask ChatGPT now. Because why not? ChatGPT. I don't use it very much. I'm not a huge AI guy. Yes, okay, I'll sign in. Hi, help me pick a gift for my dad who loves fishing. No, no. A fishing rod. There you go. A tackle box. Did I tell you about the one time I bought a tackle box? Yeah, I went in because I used to do like computers building and fixing computers. And I went into a fishing store and I bought like a cool little case because I had a bunch, you know how you get back in the old days, you'd have all the little screws, all the little connectors, all the little cables. So I wanted something to organize all that. I bought this tackle box and he's like, "Are you going out today, mate?" And I'm like, "What? What?" He's like, "You going fishing today?" I'm like, oh yeah, maybe. Oh, I didn't have the heart to tell him, I'm going to fill this with boring screws and cables. I'm not fishing. I don't like fishing. Alrighty. Yeah, am I real or AI now? I don't know. I don't know. If you're communicating an idea and the technology helps, no worries. Film directors could create without all the technology. And that's the thing. I guess my main point with this is exactly what Ed said there. Um, yeah, that it's what did they say about if technology didn't advance, we'd be trying to work out how to make our horses run faster instead of inventing the car. So, like, I get it, and I understand that technology needs to be and needs to change things and needs to help and assist. Guess I just don't love the where we're at in terms of, and it's not that I want to create an artificial barrier that people shouldn't be able to create, because I think that's what I've been trying to break down for years with GarageBand. It used to be, and oh, by the way, if you watch that video, warning, Daniel Ek is in it. She interviews Daniel Ek. If you don't know who that is, he's the Spotify guy. So if you don't like looking at Daniel Ek's face, or more importantly, hearing the words that come out of it, don't watch the video. But yeah, he was talking about the fact that technology exists, and maybe the future is, and this is where I was just like, maybe the future is there's AI bots that just make not hundreds of songs but thousands or millions, and they put them all out there, and then they basically work out based on popularity which ones are good, and then they refine it back. And I'm like, that sounds awful. I don't want to be. I don't want to be your beta tester for your music. I don't want to have to listen to AI bot song 4,912 and like, is this better than 4,911? Yeah, I think it just might be. I might subscribe to this one. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Compared to a tape or back in the day a wax cylinder, it's different. It's different. I think we all have to establish our own limits and boundaries as we use AI and comfortable with that. Yeah, I'm down with that. And I guess that's the bottom line, Mark. So I was thinking this in terms of my show, Your Music Live, and what is the line where I don't go over? Because there was an artist that we played where they said, I create the song, I write all the lyrics and I play all the parts, but then I feed that into AI and it just cleans it up and makes it sound better because it can play better than me. And I'm like, oh, that's so on the edge. Like, yes, you're putting your own creativity in there. And I kind of said to this artist, I'd actually like to just hear your version. I'd like to hear your version with all the rough parts because I worry that if we use AI to perfect things, we won't have that human spirit anymore. Yeah. Yeah. If labels are going to allow AI slot music to coexist with human music, then human music should have a higher price tag, so you know the difference. Yeah, give an incentive. Yeah, incentive for humans to create more. I like it. I like it. You did make an AI Pete. What happened to that AI Pete? That would be cool. There you go. Here's the short of the AI Pete. Yeah, yeah. What are we asking? Can you? Oh, I'm just over here on ChatGPT. Shall we bring you over? Whoop. There we go. Can you output MIDI data files? I can't directly output or send MID files myself, but I can generate MIDI data in a Python script using libraries like Mido or Pretty MIDI that you can run to create the MID file on your computer. If you'd like, I can write a Python script that generates a specific melody, chord progression, or rhythm pattern, structure raw MIDI event data, e.g. note, on or off velocity, in a way that's easy to convert to a MID file. Would you like to sample? So yes, is the answer to that one. It can. So not directly, but and look, I wouldn't know the next step of that, but I imagine it would guide me through that. Yes, please. What about a funky bass line in A major? Great choice. Oh my goodness. Python script to generate MIDI file. And then you can, what? Oh, no way. And then it writes the code. Oh, how to use it. Install Mido. Oh, save the script file. Run it. You get a file named fucking. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. There you go. So there's a future video idea. Wow. Generate MIDI in ChatGPT. Who knew? Yeah, you can do it. Good suggestion, Tom. Well done. TC Milli Vanilli will be good. Yeah. All right, we are at the end of the show. We're actually over time here. Yeah, there you go. You learn something new every day. You can generate MIDI files. I wonder if I could generate audio files. Probably not. Let's not get carried away. So thank you for hanging out with me. Sorry that we had a few technical challenges there, but hey, it's always fun. I always like this show because it's a bit unscripted and sometimes chaotic, but always fun. So thank you for being here with me. I can send you over to. I haven't set it up yet, but I will. I'll send you on over to our mate Frank. So he does a show called the Community Pulse. So we'll fire up the old redirect engine. Go say g'day. Go say g'day to Frank and say go Leafs go, or troll him and say Golden Knights rule. So there is the show. You'll be sent over there. I'll drop a link. Who's he got on the show this week? He has Scotty Butters Music, and who's the co-host? I can't tell, but you can go and check out the show. I've left a link there in the chat. Thank you everyone for being here. As we say at the end of each and every show, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, keep creating. I'll see you next time here on Your Music. No, GarageBand Weekly. Bye.